All right, everybody, give it up for Dennis Heavey.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for doing this, Dennis.
Oh, you're welcome.
I can tell when I asked Dennis if you want to do this, I can tell he wanted to say no, but you did it anyway. Thank you.
Do you want me to give him the backstory?
Yes.
I'm going to Cabo for doing this. So, I mean, he's like, do you want to go to Cabo? I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay, you got to come do a meetup. I'm like, okay. So.
Good memory. I make promises that I forget about, and then people have to remind me. I'm like, oh, shit, I should budget for an extra ticket to Cabo.
No, and I would do this for free. So, I mean, it is for free, but.
Well, you heard it.
Yeah.
But I'm a liar.
So when did we meet? It was right after Tyler and I bought a house together.
Yes.
Yeah. This was 2018, maybe 2019.
Yeah, it's probably 2019.
Show of hands. Who here has done a fix and flip before? Fix and flip. Raise them high. Okay.
I have too.
Quite a few of you. All right. Show of hands if you want to maybe someday do a fix and flip. All right. Show of hands. Who here has done a fix and flip before and never wants to do one again? Be honest. Got a couple. All right. 3. What?
How did you see it?
Peripherals.
Oh, okay.
All right. So Dennis, when I met Dennis, he was helping us out. So you have your own business. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So I moved here 7 years ago, and I started my life over. And I own a carpet cleaning business that I bought that had been in Sandpoint since 1978. So I thought, oh, turnkey business. This is it. I'm gonna live the dream. Well, I bought it in October, and guess what? You don't do carpet cleaning in October. And so I starved. And so I said, after that first winter of starving and losing all of my savings, I said, well, I better go get my real estate license and at least sell one house and make it through winter. And guess what? I sold one house, and I said, screw that. And that's when I met Nick, and he's like, you don't have to sell houses, Dennis. And you can take it from there.
Yeah, you got a good memory. I think we were at a meetup.
We were at a meetup, yeah.
Because you were telling me that you weren't really into it, but tell
But I come from a family of realtors. My grandma retired from real estate, and they did very, very well. And they pushed it on me as a young adult. And they said, you got to get into real estate, Dennis. You got a golden tongue. You can sell real estate all day long. You got to do it. You got to do it. And anytime your family wants to push you into something, the first thing you want to do is go the opposite direction. And that's exactly what I did. And I became a shoe salesman. And that was great. I sold women's shoes. And now here I'm cleaning carpet.
So, but when I first met you, you were, I think you helped us clean up these hardwood floors on this house that we bought.
Oh,
on
yeah.
Rebecca's Way.
On
That's
Rebecca's
when I first
Way.
met
Yep,
you.
that's when I first met you. Yep.
And I remember the very first time we met, you told me that you want to fix and flip homes.
That's right. Well, that is something I always did want to do. I did want to fix and flip houses, and I did tell my grandmother that was in real estate for years. I'm like, Grandma, and she was a real estate investor, and I said, just buy a house for me, and I'll fix and flip it. But she was conservative. She's like, I don't want to take a chance, and she was cautious, so we didn't do that. But I always wanted to do it. I was handy. I was a pool contractor in California, running 52 guys, and I was been around construction my whole life. So I was like, I just want to fix and flip houses because there's good money in real estate. And but I never got the opportunity with my grandmother, and so I got Grandma Joe over here, or Nick and Joe, and I did get that opportunity.
Yeah, and one thing I want to point out is that I have surprisingly a lot of people that come up to me that have never invested in real estate before, and if I ask you, you want to invest in real estate? Yeah. What kind? Like, what do you want to do? Because there's so many different types of things you can do, and they're like, yeah, pretty much anything. I don't know. But he was one of the few people that actually said, I want to fix and flip homes. And there's, I think, a big difference between knowing at least you want to do that. It narrows the search down. And then I remember when we met up again at the REI, you said it again. I want to fix and flip homes. And then it started baking in my memory. Oh, this guy wants to fix and flip homes. There's not that many people that tell me, even though like all I do is network with investors or want to be investors. I just want to be their agent for the most part, or a partner of some sort. But hardly anybody tells me what they want. So you were one of the few people that actually told me what you wanted to do. And then I remember, if you guys want to know a secret, I'm on this list, the USDA's list of foreclosures. So the USDA out there, nobody's going to do this, so it doesn't matter, I'll share it. But there's a small amount of people in the state of Idaho that are actually on this list of the USDA's asset managers list, and they'll send out a private email once in a while of something that they're going to foreclose on. And they don't always list them. Sometimes they just send it out to their list of a few people. And this opportunity came up in the heat of the market in 2021 maybe, or
Yeah, I think that's when I
or late 2020.
Gosh,
It was a hot market.
yeah, it was hot market.
And there's this house in Bonners Ferry, was it a 3-bedroom?
3, 1.5.
3, 1.5. Was only 10 years old. And they're putting it out there for $168,000. And all the comps were showing in the 300s. And I didn't have the ability at that moment to go fix and flip a home in Bonners Ferry, but I saw an opportunity and I made an offer. I got it under contract. Then I remember Dennis walked into my office right after I got it under contract. You and I think Monica was with you too.
Probably.
Do you remember when I was in that little office in the closet?
I remember you coming out of the closet a couple times, but
Yeah. I remember you specifically walked in, and I remembered.
oh yes,
you-
yes.
Oh, this is a guy that keeps saying he wants to fix and flip homes, and you live kind of up there. Hey, I just got this property under contract like a half hour ago.
Yeah,
You remember me saying
yeah.
that?
And you said, hey, would you be
Let's go
interested
check
in
it out.
doing something? Yeah.
And that's all it took. He said maybe 2 or 3 times to me, I want to fix and flip homes. So we worked out a partnership between myself, you, Joe Hembrook or Turner in the background.
It's hyphenated.
Hyphenated.
And Tyler.
And Tyler. And do you want to tell a little bit more about that?
Yeah, and that happened in the month of March of whatever year that was. And so, like I told you, I own a carpet cleaning business, and so I'm just coming out of winter, and I start picking up around that time. But I just put it in my books to set this time aside, and I think Joe Turner, it was Turner at the time, said, hey, we want to do this flip, and we got to do it in like some ridiculous amount of time.
That was Nick's idea. Let's see how fast we can.
Yeah, let's see
Yeah.
how fast we can do this.
That's when you hired
Oh, no, Austin wasn't working for so my son does work for me now. He didn't work for me back then. He came to work when I did the barn. So I'm like, yeah, but here I am a greenhorn, you know. I'm like, oh yeah, we can do this quick. And so I went and looked at the house with them, and not have ever doing a flip. We walk in and it's got meat curtains in the hallway, and like if you're at Costco going into the produce department.
So
And,
we can show
and
a
it
little bit.
sat empty for 3 years, this house too. So
I'll show a little bit. So here's the reason why we wanted to go as fast as possible. I had at the time a media company that was mostly doing videos and photos for other agents, and I had a couple of employees, and I thought, how cool would it be? We got this fix and flip. What if, since I'm paying these guys by the hour anyway, can you guys make me like an HGTV style TV show on this fix and flip, and let's just get it done as fast as we could? So we've got this video that's been out there.
This is a show where Nick Beveridge.
It's been out for maybe 3 years or so, but it's a 20-minute like HGTV style video of us getting this house done in 11 days.
This is Joe Turner.
And it's got like 90 views on YouTube. It didn't quite go as viral as I thought it would, but it's still pretty cool.
Today working on a flip house. It's kind of a team flip house. So it's Nick Beveridge, myself, Joe Turner, Tyler Webb.
you should pause it right there too.
We are the main people trying to flip this house. We're excited because it's just a
So backstory is I met Tyler first because he was a neighbor of mine. And then Tyler introduced me to these people. So they really don't know me, but they know I want to do a fix and flip. And so here I am signing a contract with them, but they don't know what I'm capable of or anything. I mean, they just know that I can talk the talk. And
No, Tyler told us all the things you did at your personal house, so we knew you were handy.
yeah, but Tyler didn't know. I could have hired a contractor, but Tyler really sold me on that, or sold them on me. And so, you know, they entrusted me, and I'm just a committal type guy. I mean, I've been married 31 years, only had 4 girlfriends during that time. And they trusted me, and it worked out really well.
So
we'll just show a little bit.
Just mainly,
We don't have to do the whole video, but it'll just kind of give you some context of this project.
We've never done this before. Let's see what happens. Ready?
Let's check it out. Let's check it out.
You're like, who are these crazy people?
Yeah.
Okay, so day 1, the plan is demo. So we are going to be ripping out cabinets, all the flooring. There's about a half-inch of plywood.
There's the plastic curtains.
And get ready, because tomorrow, day 2, we're going to paint, and day 3, the new kitchen cabinets are going in. So this timeline is very tight and may not work out, but we are going to try our best.
So did you hear that? Demo day 1, painting day 2, day 3, cabinets go in. Who here has worked on a fix and flip before? Doesn't that sound like, haha, yeah, right. It actually happened. And thanks to, Tyler and Dennis. And they're not contractors.
Except it's very cold, and there's no power, there's no water, there's no natural gas. But we're working on that.
There's no utilities.
Either. Last week, but why not wait till we're here tearing the place apart? So we're gonna hopefully have this place gutted out today and get some carpet out of here. I think the main objective for Monday, day 1, is prep for paint.
Okay, hi, good morning. I'm Dennis Heavey, one of the newest members on the REI team. Super excited to be part of this. We grew up here in beautiful Bonner's Ferry. We got, for me, it's going to be my first opportunity to help out with a flip house. It's something I've always wanted to do. I was a landscape and pool contractor in Southern California and always wanted to do flipping with an investor, and I got my opportunity at.
Hey, I'm Nick Beveridge. I'm a partner in this deal. I'm a little late today, but whenever I'm going to kick down the door, usually my job, I want to kick it down too.
It was a nice kick, right?
Hi, Joe.
Anyway, it goes on and on. You got it. We have some fun. We don't have to go through the whole thing, but I'll kind of skim through it. Let's see. We even replaced the HVAC.
So we repaired some water in the kitchen, and we're doing our video. This is Monica.
This is day 2.
White. Everything prepped this morning. Monica's been amazing in helping us. We are busy getting the painting going. So we're going to work our way into these bedrooms. Everything's off the wall, walls are all cut, floors are all clean. It's nice to be in a house with all the mouse cubes all picked up. So.
Oh yeah, and this house was vacant for
3 years.
3 years. Yeah.
But yeah, that's what we've been working on. That's an update for the morning here. And catch you here soon. All right, bye. Hey, it's Tyler. And day 3 in Bonner's Ferry, Idaho. We are on a fix and flip project. Trying to get most of it all done this week. So beautiful day. Weather's helping us out here. And this is my neighbor Dennis. Hey, teammate and brother. Good morning. From another mother property.
So Dennis, how many hours would you say you were on this each day? If you had to guess.
So, day 3 has been
I know it's been a while.
8.
8 hours? Okay.
Maybe.
Well, good morning, guys.
Right now, we've got.
I mean, 10, but 2 hours of drinking.
Maybe we can finally paint. Our paint will dry. It's been like 20 degrees at night, and it's been a little disaster for painting drying around here. That's the plan. Got kitchen cabinets going up right now also. Say hi to the guys from Big City. Hey guys, say hi. Look at that beautiful new furnace. Thanks, guys. All right, come on in. Well, cabinetry going in right now. And it's probably still a little tacky. Yesterday.
So a huge reason why this was coming together so quickly, because Joe was working in the background,
Yeah.
getting all the scheduling done ahead of time. Before we ever closed, she had like weeks beforehand, the kitchen planned out, the kitchen guy there, cabinets ordered, the HVAC lined up. So there was a lot of prep work before we closed on it for us to meet this timeline.
Our good friend Anton, shout out to Northwest Granite. They are awesome for doing affordable counters and cabinets. So they're going to be putting in counters today and cabinets.
We'll kind of skip through that. We painted the doors and all the trim white. So I think we tried to keep as much.
So we're putting in cabinet knobs and drawer pulls. This is called like kitchen hardware. And some people don't do it. I think it's really important because having a new kitchen is like having a brand new cake. But without these little charm pullers, it's like not having icing on the cake. People love icing. It looks way better, it's functional. And without them, it's really kind of hard to open drawers or even pull, like, you can barely even open this cabinet without it. Just the way these are made these days, you almost have to like pull from under here or just barely get in here. You have to have cabinet knobs.
A good teacher, cabinet knobs. Look at that. What's this, day 4?
Yeah, something like that.
A lot of beer drinking. We ended up.
Please vote in the comments below.
We ended up doing a pedestal sink.
Did we?
Yeah.
Got a nice brown grape, and it turned out battleship grape, but it's actually my.
Anyway.
We learned that Coors Lights actually will cut through tile a lot better too if you use that.
So we did 11 full working days there to get here. And that included staging furniture too.
Welcome.
Wow, this is amazing. Man, what a transformation.
Come check it out.
You guys did incredible.
Man, I can't believe we got it staged in 11 days. Thanks to our amazing team, this house is ready to sell.
Absolutely. Okay, so here's the final numbers. We were able to purchase this property for $161,211. We got a total loan for $165,021, and that included our hard money fees. In addition to that, we needed to come up with $24,065 for the renovation. Thank you, Joe.
So we got a hard money loan for the acquisition, and the interest for I think 3 months, and then Joe brought the money for the renovation, which we spent $24,000.
We ended up selling this house for $315,000, and all of us walked away with $114,054 to split 4 ways. Not a bad 11 days.
Anyway, pretty cool, huh?
Now you know I wanted to do flips my whole life.
So because that was so easy, Dennis wanted to jump into this. No, he didn't.
Was this the next one?
This-
So
I think so.
debrief. So I know it's not like when you do your own business, you're making decent money,
Mhm.
right? Sometimes you have $1,000 days.
Every day.
Was that a pretty good payday though?
Yeah, I mean, I made $30-something thousand in 11 days, so it was addictive, to
Okay.
say the least.
What was your biggest takeaway with that house?
It was the easiest one. Well, it was truly a cosmetic fix-up. I mean, so that was my first one. So they trusted me, and I trusted them, and it's never been that easy since.
Right. Yeah. So we got really lucky with that house.
Yeah.
It was only 10 years old when we bought it. I think it was built in 2010, and we bought it in 2020. It was vacant for 3 years, so I
Had
mean,
frozen pipes. And
everything was broken in the house. But what I kind of knew and what you got to learn was when you fix up older homes, it takes a lot more time. For things that you would never imagine would take as much time. Like you saw in a day, you can get like the whole painting done, or in a day, all the demo done, or in a day, kitchen cabinets in and flooring in. But when you're fixing up like an older house, sometimes you can work a full day on trying to fit one door
yeah, for sure.
in with 2 people,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's happened.
yeah,
But in this house too, this house we only had, and any of you guys that are doing fix and flips can relate here. We only had 2 subcontractors, I believe, and that was the people that did the kitchen cabinets and then Bill's Heating. And Tyler, myself, Joe, and you.
Mhm. I didn't do much.
No, you did run some electrical though.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I was in the
Yeah, you were in the crawl space.
I'm the electrician.
We did
That's not
everything
licensed.
from fixing the pipes to patching the drywall to painting to scraping the moss off the roof to, I mean, fixing. I mean, we did a lot.
Mhm.
So, I mean, and I did work some long hours there, and I would, because I was the closest one. Well, Tyler and I both were the closest living to that house. You know, I would race up there in the morning and do stuff that needed to be done before everyone would get there. And we were able to get it done really quick. And Joe and I worked a lot. That's when Joe and I really got to be real close friends, actually, because we would work some long hours. I mean, she was driving up from Coeur d'Alene all the way clear to Bonner's Ferry, and you know, if you're driving that far, you're gonna put in the hours and you're gonna make it happen. And she did. She worked hard. She's a hell of a tile setter. Not good around electrical. She shocked herself 3 times. I'd be outside cutting tile and I'd hear, "Shout, ow!" I'm like, "Do you want me to turn the electric off?" No. And then I'd go back out and she'd shock herself again. So I think we did work in the dark a couple times there so she could kind of clean the grout up. But she did work some long hours. So,
yeah.
And but we got it done pretty quick. And I was like, damn, this is easy. I was like, making 30 grand in 11 days. I'm like, damn, that's doing good. I've never done that in Vegas. Probably giving them that much.
Yeah. So, but what we learned was that, wow, Dennis does what he says he's going to do, and which is, you'd be surprised, not that common with adults.
Well, and I was running a business too at the same time too. So there was points in there that I would have to go and do my business. Luckily, it wasn't as busy then. Today, it's actually a lot harder for me to do that. But yeah, I still had to run a business and field calls and stuff like that. But like I told you, I'm a committal type person. I told them I was going to do it. I was going to show up. I was going to make it happen. And I saw the potential too. I saw this as the market was hot. I had just gotten my real estate license. I think that was in March. I'd got it in October the year before. And I was like, yeah, this is going to be good. And I knew it was going to be good.
Yeah. So if anybody out there has like limiting beliefs about their potential or like what kind of value could they offer an investor, you don't have to have the experience. You don't have to have the money. You don't even have to be a contractor sometimes. But Dennis was just a hard worker, good guy, did what he said he was going to do, and had a great attitude about it. And sometimes that's all it takes. Like the bar out there, it's pretty low.
It is.
But what you'll find in business is that most people suck.
Well, most people can be their worst enemy.
And it's amazing when you run into somebody that you're not just average, you're like, you're a guy with integrity and you have a great attitude about it. So if you're one of those people, you're going to do fine in this world if you're newer out there.
Yeah.
Just want to point that out. So you got your next opportunity, which was, this was a gotcha moment, right?
Yeah.
Joe came across this fix and flip, and I wanted nothing to do with it, which was surprising because I'm usually more risk averse. But it's funny, this property, I walked through it about 5 years or so before you bought it, Joe, and I could have bought it for around 150 grand. It's a barndominium on 5 acres out in Athol, and that was around 2015. And it was too much work at that point. And then you got it for $500,000, right? 515. And I was just like, ugh, what are you doing? But you were right, but it was a lot of work. So here's kind of what it looked like. It had a detached shop with great siding.
Nice step-up kitchen.
Yeah, the kitchen had great support beams in the floors, right?
Yeah, it was a step up, about 6 inches to get into the kitchen, and
great catwalk. So the pros, a geothermal heating system, huge shop, 5 acres, newish roof, windows, electrical, plumbing, location. The cons, the layout, siding, stairs, crazy electrical, even though it's newish over here.
Yeah.
So explain that.
Panel and stuff, but just Tyler had the great idea to rearrange some rooms, and I can't remember what the electric was kind of crazy there.
no, the electric was crazy there,
And had some junk.
and it was leaning to the left.
So there's your team. I wasn't a part of it.
Oh,
So pretty much the same team as last time, except Joey replaced me, which is probably a good thing because I wouldn't have done anything to help out. What was it like getting into this project? Because I know at first, wasn't there some hesitation or maybe pessimism?
there must have been a little pessimism there because, it started off a little rocky, and we weren't optimistic. We weren't optimistic at all. This thing had a lot of shit in it, and literally shit. I mean, there was a dead cat under the house that I came face to face after everybody left, and I freaked out. I thought it was a rock, and I looked at it up close, and I'm in the crawl space, and it's a dead cat right in my face. And I was like, oh crap!
I've pulled dead cats up.
And this house had 2 dogs. And I think 2 cats. Cats are not good luck. Don't let anyone tell you different. They're crap. This had cat piss so thick you could scrape it with a putty knife on the 3rd story. And here I'm in the odor decontamination business too. And you weren't getting rid of this stuff. I mean, it was pulling up subfloor and just the amount of stuff in this shop. And hottest summer that we had, that summer was that hot summer that was 100 and something, and this was June. We're painting this thing.
2021.
Oh my God.
Right.
It was hell. So I went from, I love fix and flips to, God, why? Because it was, at this point, I think Tyler was on vacation, Joey was in drill, and it was Joe and myself, and she's just a cheerleader. I mean, she can keep you motivated. And it's amazing what Coors Light will do too. But then she throws all these crazy ideas at you, or they're called opportunities. And if you haven't done something, you're unsure and you're just like not as confident, she'll make you confident and you'll get it done. So we had a lot of that.
Didn't the kitchen floors all needed like
We
restructuring?
pulled all that out, and that's all been dropped 6 inches. And
some help with that?
that was Chip and Joanna.
Yeah, I did put in some light fixtures, I think.
Yeah, you did.
There's also a video on this of the finished product if you want to check it out. It's called the North Idaho REI team and the Barndominium agent walkthrough. Really good title.
I will tell you this though, it was 4.5 months of work.
In the valley.
Oh, we're not gonna
halfway
play that.
between Coeur d'Alene and in the valley. Halfway
Clicker doesn't
between
work with
Coeur
this.
d'Alene and Sandpoint, Idaho. In the valley.
There we go. Not going to bore you with another 20-minute video.
It really wasn't 6 months. I mean, when I figured out the time that I spent there, it was like 4 months there, and
It took a couple months to sell.
and it was like, I mean, Joe says it's like childbirth. You know, you push it out, and it's like, oh God, I love this child, and you're happy, and that's exactly what it was. I mean, there was a point where you want to burn the thing down, and actually, some people did burn some things down. But then you get past that and you're like, I could live in this thing. This thing is nice. And it was nice when we were done. It was very nice, actually.
Yeah.
So
this project lasted 6 months, 17 days versus 11 days. A little bit more time.
a little bit.
Even though, I mean, you guys made a lot. You each made 80 grand was each person's share of the profits. So that's not bad,
Mhm.
but it was hard. A lot of hard work.
And the transition here was I brought my son to work to run my business. And so I constantly had to babysit him, make sure he was doing everything. And it's the summertime. So I'm super busy. I mean, I'm running from Ports Hill up near the border of Canada down to Kidd Island Bay. And we were humping it out. We were super busy. But, you know, hats off to my son. I sent him to school for it. He picked it up, and all the old ladies love him. So it was good. And you know, it worked out, but it was tough for me too, because I'm the one that answers the call. I'm the one invoicing. I'm the one still working with him. So doing this, hopping in the van with my son, making stuff happen. And it was a lot of work. But we made some money.
Yeah, and there's a breakdown of that. So there's some takeaways that Joe put down. And you guys always stayed hydrated.
We did.
Okay. Before we dive into this, I don't have slides for this other one, but just after this one, that wasn't a GSP that you got involved with?
I think we went into GSP, yeah.
So there was another Bonner's Ferry flip that we got. Thanks to Tyler. Tyler actually wholesaled it to us. So when you're working with a group of people, you don't always have to partner on things. Sometimes you could just, I found a deal, I got it under contract, I'll wholesale it to my friends. Not a big deal. Once you're in this, you can do whatever you want, as long as you agree. So with that next deal, I was a partner, Joe was a partner, and Joe squared, and Dennis. And it was... numbers, I think, were similar to the other one.
I think we got it for 186.
No, I think we got it for 130 something. We bought it for 130 something.
Oh, was it? And we said it should have been 86.
86. You and Joey were convinced we were going to lose money on it, right?
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Well, I never bet unless I know I'm going to win. Well, Joey back there that's married to Joe, he always bets, and that's why he's got a piercing in his he's got a piercing in his ear, his navel, his nipple. He's ran naked through the streets. He's got a tramp stamp. This guy, he's lost every single bet he's ever made. So I use him as like a big brother kind of thing. Like, if he's screwed up, I'm definitely not going to bet. And I learned that pretty quick. But yeah, this house was, so we called it GSP, and I think that was, Nick gave it that name, is Grandma Smoky Poop or something.
Uh-huh. That's what it smelled like.
And we got that house in, what month was that? Like January, when it's super cold. So you don't have any stench at that time, really. But as it started to thaw, I mean, this thing smelled like piss. They should have been grandma smoky piss.
It
and
smelled
poop.
like money.
Yeah.
That's what it smelled like.
And that, there is a story behind that. When it stinks, it's money. I'll tell you that right now. Because the house that I actually...
Because your competition goes away.
Yes, it does. So I actually have a rental.
The resellability becomes very hard for a seller.
That's right.
And they almost have to just give it up at way under fair market value sometimes for it to make sense. Because sometimes to get smell out, you have to gut an entire house. Sometimes you get lucky with doing primer or something like that. But
lots of it.
Anyway.
But this house, for me, going through real estate school and, you know, being around it enough, my grandma always told me it's location, location, location. Well, this house was a corner lot with the train tracks literally no further back than where Joe and Joey are. A water kiosk behind me, a half pipe in the backyard for the
there's a skate park
for the skate park, and the fairgrounds. And I was like, and a daycare next door. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is. And it had a train car. I was like, there's no way we're making money. And Joey and I were always left alone, and we're like, this thing should just be burnt down, and we could start. And holding this house up were tree trunks, literally tree trunks. I mean, there was a foundation, but holding the floor. This house was built in 1912, I believe.
Yeah, I can't remember.
And they had lost the levee in Bonners Ferry for the Kootenai River, and that house had been under 16 feet of water back in 1946 or something. So when you get this history, you're like, oh my God.
It had a big crawl space though.
But it did have, I could stand up in the crawl space.
That was nice.
And I don't like spiders, and it was like I was Indiana Jones. I mean, it was spiders all over the place, and I was like, burn this thing down. And it was leaning. This house is probably still leaning to the what, right, Joey? Still leaning to the right? But it had a shop. And so Joe assured us that, oh, this house has a shop. And Tyler, he's another cheerleader. Anything Joe touched turns to gold. So you play these things in your head. You're just like, okay, you're almost convinced that, yeah, I'll deal with it. So, and remember, I was building luxury backyards in Southern California. You know, I was building upwards of $500,000 to $800,000 backyard pools. And so when you're doing a fix and flip, you're not making anything perfect by any means. I hate to say this, you're putting lipstick on a pig. We were just actually candying up that bacon a little bit better than that. And so that was kind of hard for me to let go a little bit of that, because I was, you know, I'm running 52 guys, building all these backyards, and everything has to be perfect because it's for the retail market. And so when you're in the fix and flip, it's, you know, you're
doing the best you can.
You're doing the best you can with what you've got. And, you know, 1912 versus a brand new home is completely different, even though new homes are not even that great. So.
Yeah. But with a property like that, like we were buying it for $130. I can't, Joe, do you guys remember how much money we actually put into the renovation? Was it?
There's like
30,000. And it was a full gut job, 2 or 3 bedroom home.
It was 2 bedroom, 1 bath.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It was 2 bedrooms, 1 non-conforming, 1 bath. It was only 900 square foot home, but the shop I think was like 900 square foot shop or something roughly.
Yeah. So anyway, we were all in for less than 200 grand with the renovation and interest and holding costs and all that stuff. And we sold it for
354.
Was it 350-ish?
Three.
Maybe 315.
What did we sell?
I think it was around 315.
Oh, was it?
Because I think we all made 30-ish thousand.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
So split 4 ways again. Like it sucks to flip or split a house flip profit by 4. But when you're in the 6 figures, it's not that bad. Especially when everybody kind of has their own job. But you made decent money. You didn't lose.
We made decent money. And the whole thing was too, this house had some less than desirable people living in it before. And, you know, they did have a daycare next door. And so we would hear stories from the neighbors that one guy would do syringe check every morning before kids would show up in the school. And so Joe would say, you know, hey, we're making neighborhoods better and houses better. Mm-hmm. And really we were. And so you get this sense of pride that, you know what, we are going to make this neighborhood better. And people, I mean, the city would come around and they were excited, and it did make you feel good. And then there was that point where we got to the point, man, I think I could live in this house. I could every single time. It's like, God, this house is freaking nice.
Because when you're demoing a place and you're just starting to kind of work on it, you're like, this place is disgusting. I would never, who could live like this? And then by the end, you're like, I'd live here. This is great.
But we did have fun. So far, this is the third one. Every single one has been a lot of fun, a lot of hauls to the dump, and a lot of consumption of alcohol. But it was a lot of fun. I mean, and they were very rewarding.
Yeah. So you got that third one done under your belt, and then you rolled right into this next one. And the cool thing was, in the background, you had this business that you were the solopreneur. Mm-hmm. You had to do it all, but by taking on this extra thing, it forced you to leverage your son and put in systems.
Yep.
And it forced you to become a better businessman.
Absolutely.
By taking on more.
And so, a little backstory there. So I let my license go, my real estate license, because I did sell a house. I did a cold call. I actually went with Joe. It was kind of an investment. And then I looked at this investment. And then there's a street there I had some friends live on. And I went and talked to him. He's like, hey, this guy wants to sell. And so I called this guy, and I sold one house. And it was so easy. God, that's how I probably got that zip. It's easy, because I did a cold call. I sold this guy's house, got him full cash offer. He had always was a for sale by owner guy. He had 20 properties he sold by himself, but he gave me this opportunity. I sold his house, but it's so, that was when the market was high, and it was so emotional because it was a cash offer and they wanted him out. And I was like, fuck this. I don't need this stress. I already had this stress in California. And so I was like, nah, I'm just going to flip. And so I let that go. And, no more starving with my business. My business does very well. And my son, he's got it on cruise control. And so here I am working in this was trash pile. That's what this house was called. Look at that trash. That is from the light switch to the kid's bed.
Oh, yeah.
That house had, and I'm telling you about cats. There's some people in this room that like cats. I don't like cats. This had 5 litter boxes stacked because they didn't want to clean them. They just put a new litter box.
Cats are a good sign to me. Hello.
Oh, God. Get rid of your cat.
So, looks like you bought that property for $175. You guys got a hard money loan on it. You had to bring $23,000 to the table on this one. Does that sound right?
If I went with Freedom Northwest.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you use the credit loan. Use the credit union. Sorry, it's not hard money. So use the credit union on this one. Yeah. So if anybody's looking for like a local bank / credit union that will lend on fix and flips, Freedom Credit is awesome. Freedom Northwest Credit Union. They're very easy to work with. You guys had a joint venture agreement. We always had joint ventures, but in this slideshow, you got to show it off. This is a great thing, I believe, to have in lieu of an LLC with partners. That way, whoever probably gets the loan for the deal, and this, I'm not giving advice here. I'm just telling you what I've learned that works best for me now, and maybe Joe too. When you're purchasing a property and you're the one ultimately responsible for the payments, it might be a good idea, for me anyway, moving forward, to buy an LLC that I own and then have a joint venture agreement in tandem with that, with the people that you're going to venture on this project with. They don't need to be owners of the house, but they can be owners of the deal, with clauses that could potentially remove people if they're not doing their job. Does that make sense? So you always had this. You had this extra layer of accountability in the background if needed, but you guys always worked well together. Yeah. So it wasn't a problem. But if you stop showing up,
like that would happen.
But if that happened, Joe would be safe.
Right. No, it was yeah, it's definitely safe.
And it protects Dennis too. He's not doing all this work, and then what if I'm like, I get all the money.
Yeah, which I've seen that too. I have seen people going to partnerships. Somebody buys a house in their LLC, they partner with a contractor, partner, and then they pretend that they didn't make anything on the house and they don't pay them anything. I've seen it happen. There's a lot of scumbags in this world. It's weird, but they're out there. So be careful. Always check but verify, whatever you call it, trust but verify, and have contracts with your friends. Nice before and afters of trash pile. What was it like doing the trash pile house? Were you starting to get used to it by now?
Yeah, but we still wanted to burn it down.
Okay.
We wanted to, this thing was disgusting. Look at that. Look at that bathroom. I mean,
I like it.
I like it too, because you know what? It's money.
It's a transformation there.
There's a lot of stuff you don't even see. I mean, we busted up the subfloor, redid plumbing, and there was, other than the kitchen. Well, yeah, that was our retreat.
How'd that get?
Joey and I are best friends, so you work together. You almost, God, I don't know, in love with the guy. He's such a good guy. Look at him. The guy's so handsome, and he's military. I mean, come on, he's making America safe.
All right. When you're doing fix and flips, you spend a lot of money, a lot more than you think sometimes, and you have a lot of little transactions. It's good to stay on top of your finances almost daily if you can, because if you let it go for a month or so and you're doing a fix and flip, it's really easy to forget what you spent, where, when, how, and try to categorize it right later, especially if you have other people using your debit cards too. But it's important to use something like QuickBooks, I believe, and just stay on top of the spending, because you can easily have 1,000 transactions per house. And this is pages and pages of transactions. All right. One more cool little example. So this was kind of a unique one. The little house that Joe and I got under contract in Pend Oreille, and Emma and Caitlin wholesaled it to us. They were on our team. And, oh, I gotta do this instead. It's the smallest house we ever took on it. And I loved it. I love that it was small. So 500 square feet, 2 bedroom, 1 bath. There was a window to the other room here. The kitchen had this spray foamed in back door, and then you enter that window bedroom from the kitchen here. And also in the kitchen is like the water heater and everything, because it's such a small house. Here's that bedroom with the window in it. It's got a closet that kind of comes out. Large windows. We got a funny story about that.
Why did I do this?
Anyway, is on a busy kind of anybody familiar with Pend Oreille? It's on the corner of 4th Street and the Highway
200.
Highway 200. Right near.
It's actually in a great location.
In its backyard. Anyway, it's probably more photos than what you need to see. I like using Google Photos, and just every photo I ever take just goes on Google Photos. And then later I can go through and just highlight a bunch of stuff and move it to a different folder. So I have a folder of just all the photos that I took while I was at this house. It's a great way to go back and see if you, like, for almost anything. It's great to always it's a great resource to come back to your photos for things like, oh wait, was this finished on what day? Or if you're trying to track a receipt, figure out where this receipt was spent on in July of last year, you can go back to photos in July and see what project was I working on. Oh, this oven probably went there. If you're getting to that stage where you're doing a lot of these, it helps to just take photos constantly and have some cloud system So gutted this house completely and kind of changed out the layout a little bit to make it more functional. It was kind of a weird partnership, but we made it work. It was a partnership between Joe and I at first, and then she was on to too many things, and she's like, do you want this house? Just pay me off. And so I think I gave you your money back plus an extra $7,000 or something to kind of buy her out of the deal because there was some equity there. And then I believe Joe and Dennis were going to be involved in it.
Yeah, we were just finishing up
Joey.
Yeah, Joey.
But Joey Joe always takes Joey with her wherever she goes, so she yanked him out of there before he got to work on it much. So it was just Dennis and I. And I kind of wanted to keep this house. The idea when we bought it was to keep it as an Airbnb because at the time, Airbnbs were like the only things that kind of cash flowed, and I wanted to try to hold what I could. So the idea was to do an Airbnb and try to figure out how would be a creative way to still have Dennis involved. And so we thought, okay, why don't I still pay you by the hour?
Oh yeah, you did pay me by the hour.
Pay you by the hour, and then whatever it should appraise for, or whatever it appraised for by the time I go to refinance it, we'll assume that is the selling price, and I'll pay you, was it 15% of the potential profits? So as an extra bonus. So you still got paid a decent hourly wage, and it was just you there. So you didn't have.
It was just me.
It was a different experience. Anytime I came to help, I think I just caused you more work. But you got things done really fast. I remember in one day, actually it wasn't even a day, it was like just a couple hours, you knocked out this wall over here. You had the floors raised in the crawl space because it was all crooked under there. Framed this in. And then the nice thing was Home Depot was like right by.
Yeah, Home Depot was very close.
So you're able to get everything you needed. You were able to put the OSB on, all that, and the window. This was all like within a couple hours. Right?
Yeah.
Pretty insane. I just couldn't believe it because I had employee contractors at the time, and that would have taken two guys like 4 days.
Until I'm in my 50s.
But I just started to realize, like, where's the incentive? With my employees, they are just on the clock. This guy's in a hurry. He doesn't mess around. He's not constantly smoking. There's just a different incentive there.
Well, and it was kind of odd, too.
This is jacking up the floor.
Don't look at that, Joey. Please don't look at that.
One day I came to help him install windows, and then I ended up taking him to the ER. You want to tell?
You can show the pictures, huh?
Okay, I can show. So we were pulling out this window together, and
yeah, still happy.
And I yanked too hard on it, and the whole thing broke, and a big chunk of it went right into his wrist.
I think this window was like a 4x6 quarter-inch plate glass window, and it just went through my glove, cut my wrist, and I'm like, I'm okay. And he's like, no, you're going to the emergency. And I'm like, it's okay. And he has this nice new Tundra. I'm like, no, I don't want to bleed in that truck. I said, but if I do, I can clean it. He's like, just get in. And he takes me to the ER, or he takes me to this urgent care, and of course they're closed. And so this is during COVID, and so then he takes me to the Bonner Hospital, and they won't let us in. And I got my hoodie wrapped around this thing, and they're like, well, what happened? I'm like, well, glass through a window. Their glass has gotten, cut my wrist. And they're like, well, let me see. So outside the hospital, they unwrap, and they're like, oh yeah, you can come in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've never even been to the hospital. What the heck's going on here?
Yeah.
And he's like, we're saving that piece of wood. We need to use that. He's on a budget.
That's when Dennis was convinced I had autism or something.
So I get stitched up. We come back, and I install the window.
Yep.
And my wrist killed me.
If you'll notice, there's a first aid kit there.
Yep.
Anytime you're working on a fix and flip, spend the $15 or whatever and just have a first aid kit there, because people are going to get injured all the time. It just happens. What I loved about this house was that you didn't use a whole lot of drywall, because I hate drywall. It takes a long time. You did this nice thing with the ceiling. What do you call that? Just
This is like
tongue
and groove.
That pre-finished stuff you put on that wall. You were able to install that, right? Or did we get the plumber?
No, I did all that.
Okay,
I even
you were
moved
a
the
plumber.
plumbing.
Install the pocket. So we moved the bathroom door. The bathroom was only accessible by inside one of the bedrooms, and then we just made it a little pocket door and completely gutted the bathroom, moved things around to where you can get to it from the living room. Because people like convenience these days, and if you're going to completely renovate a house, you might as well get the floor plan right to where you don't have to walk through a kitchen to get to a room, or if you need to use a bathroom, there's only one bathroom in a house. Probably shouldn't be off the bedroom. Unless there's another bathroom, then that makes sense. You had a cool idea to do tin ceilings in the kitchen, which I've never heard of anyone doing before. Used a lot of beadboard in the bedrooms, which I thought looked great, and it's pre-finished. You don't have to paint it, right? You just tack it right in.
I think we did paint these. Yeah, we painted. They were primed. We painted them, or I painted them.
Oh, you still painted those?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I thought those were finished. I went on a walk.
Well,
So that's how much help I am. There it is, starting to come together. Pretty nice. Anyway, you get the idea. So we ended up staging it. Whoa. I staged it after you finished. We paid you out your profit. My wife and my kids, we all stayed in it for a night and did hooked up the TVs and all that stuff. So we got to experience hanging out there for a night or two, which was kind of cool during Fall Fest. And I think we had got a new driveway. I installed a fence. I think we had one guest, and then I had to sell the house because I was up to my eyeballs in debt. So that was kind of a waste of money, putting in all these extra furnishings and all this stuff. I think I even put a Tesla charger right there in the corner. Tried to set it up perfectly for an Airbnb because it's next to Schweitzer. It's also, people vacation during the summer there. Anyway, worked out for the next day. The next guy that bought it actually kept it as an Airbnb, and I think it's for sale right now. Any takeaways with that house? Yeah. And you got another project coming up now, right?
Yeah. Well, and then after that, I got my first rental.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, talk about that.
And so during that, I had gotten in a bad motorcycle accident years before, and doing that tile and doing this and all this, I have stenosis in my neck. So actually Nick had another potential for me, and I had to back out because I was my arms had gone numb and I was in so much pain. And I'm like, Nick, I can't do anymore. And right the day I think I told him, no, I can't help him on a project, Joe said, Dennis, there's a house in Laclede. You gotta buy this and hold it. And I was like, I just backed out of a job with Nick, and here I am going to go do another one. And at that same time, I think we had something. I think we're doing the middle of trash pile too.
Oh,
trash
okay.
pile was going, and so
each house had a nickname.
So then I went and did a walkthrough at this house in Laclede, and it smelled like money. I mean, it was just pure dog piss, and it was horrible. And I knew this was going to be a moneymaker for me. And it was a pretty good size home. was on the MLS for 215, and Joe asked me, she's like, what do you think? And I'm like, I love this thing. And the pain was all of a sudden gone. Actually, it wasn't, but I was like, hell yeah. And so my wife came and met me, and we walked through, and I'm like, I think we should do this. And that was a really good project. We worked double time. I was doing the house up in Bonners, coming home, working at this house in Laclede, and I live between Sandpoint and Laclede. So I would work up in Bonners, come home, go to Laclede, work at that house. And I think I gutted that house and renovated the one that I own now. I think I did that in 2 months, just part-time, and completely gutted it. And it's really, really nice. Actually, my wife and I said, maybe we should sell our big house and move into it and just live debt-free and have a ton of money. And but there's a neighbor, so I don't want neighbors. So we have a renter in there now, but that was pretty good. And then obviously then the interest rate, I bought that house. I used hard money. Joe brought the money to redo it. I paid her out. And I thought, well, cool, you know, interest rates are still kind of low. I'll do this and then refinance it and, you know, be positive. Well, I'm actually getting $18 a month now off that rent. And I'm just waiting for the interest rate to dive just a little bit. And
Hard money rate.
but that's a hard money rate, yeah.
Even at hard money rates, it's pretty great.
But I've been very fortunate. I have had the first renter I got in there. They were fantastic. Always paid me sometimes 2 months, 3 months in advance. Currently, I have a renter in there that pays me with a cashier's check. They're super good. And, you know, now I'm actually cash flowing $18 a month. So, I mean, someone's paying my mortgage, and that's, you know, it's got tons of equity in the house. It's in a great spot. If you're a hunter, it's right near hunting grounds for elk. It's right next to Laclede boat launch. It's in a great, great spot. And I actually have 3 friends that live on that street. So I don't even drive by the house. I mean, my friends, they'll tell me if something's going, and they're always, oh, your tenants are so great. And I don't even show up. And someone just pays the rent there, and it's fantastic. And it took about 6 months before that pain kind of, you know, went away. And then there was no deals because the market, you know, changed a little bit. But now we have another one under contract in Priest River. I don't want to burn this one down. It's actually got some good treasures inside it. And so I think it's actually going to be a good one. It's a shit box too, but it's gonna make us some good money, I think.
Yeah. So what I love about this is, like, you started off with, you had no investing experience, but you know you wanted to flip houses, and you teamed up with the right people, obviously.
Absolutely.
And
yeah, no, for sure.
Joe and everybody. So, but you didn't just flip houses, make money, and spend your money, which is what a lot of people do. Like, you actually bought a rental. Mm-hmm. And I think, like, I'm so proud of you for doing that, because that is the way to wealth. And as long as you can keep it and keep doing what you're doing, eventually you'll get another.
Right.
And then another. And then you'll become more comfortable with the idea of owning multiple rentals. And that's where you're going to make your wealth. Like, the rich flip, the wealthy hold. So that's what I've heard anyway.
Yeah. Well, Marshall Menn says that all the time. He's like, don't flip houses. Hold them, hold them, hold them. He's like, if you're flipping, you're a fool. But, you know, it's nice to get that money. And, you know, of course I'd like some toys, but I learned a valuable lesson living in California. And I don't own any toys here. And a lot of it, I give credit to Joe back there. She's like an older sister, but 10 years younger. She's like, Dennis, don't go buy a side-by-side. Don't go buy a boat. I'm like, well, shit, man. What am I supposed to do? Just work every day and not have fun? But, you know, I've listened to her, and sometimes you just need to surround yourself around people that are more successful, a little bit smarter than you. And that's the key here, is you gotta be around. I had a 6th grade teacher said, you're only going to be the people you hang around. And so if you can find the right people to be around, they're going to put you down the right path. And I mean, here I am, a 54-year-old hanging around 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds. And, you know, they all make fun of me because I do say everything is easy. And everything is easy one wall at a time. We can all be our worst enemy if you go in these things negative and say, oh man, this is a lot of work. You know, I got to burn this thing down. But then a little cheerleader comes and says, it's, you know, hey, this is your opportunity. And then you get one wall done, or you cut open the floorboards and you jack it up and you sister some joists and you put that subfloor back down. It was easy. And like he showed you on that Little America house, literally things like that only took me a few hours, and they are easy. But if you overwhelm yourself with the whole project, it becomes very difficult. And I've had some really good cheerleaders. I mean, my wife is fantastic. She just take it one day at a time, one day at a time. But here I used to be a project supervisor with 52 guys underneath me. You can't just take it one day at a time because you're under the... So that's the other thing. I don't like to be pushed. I've never been pushed. Like Nick, he showed up. I went to the emergency room. Other than that, he never showed up. I would text him pictures. Hey, Nick, this is what we're doing. The 11-day flip is an anomaly because Joe had tons of time to pick out the flooring, to pick out the colors, to get everything that we needed lined up. So you go in and you have a plan. This is what I was used to in the residential market. You know what you're going to do. I always had a plan. I knew exactly where plants were going. I knew where the pool was going to be. You knew where the pool house was going to be, barbecue. It's easy. There it is, that freaking word, easy. But, you know, some of these flips, there was no plan. It was, okay, let's take this wall down. Let's put arch. What the hell are you talking about? Arches. I don't do arches. Let's just throw some drywall and texture it, you know. So those weren't as planned, but they came out. And if you just take it one little thing at a time, the time was nothing. And everything is easy in this world. Everything is. You just can't get overwhelmed by the whole project. And I think, you know, with working for Nick was probably the easiest thing I ever did because he didn't care. He gave me a credit card and said, just do your thing, Dennis. Because at this point, he had already seen me do 3 things or 3 flips. And he's like, oh, he obviously had trust in me. And he's like, just do it. And that was, I hate this word again, it was easy. And I was like, frick, I would go home and tell my wife, man, this is so freaking nice. I mean, no one's telling me what to do. No one's saying, hey, you have to be done by Friday at this time. And he's paying me by the hour. I mean, he lost his shirt, but, and he wasn't paying me
$7 or $9 grand on that house.
And just call it, he wasn't paying me what I'm worth, but I had a lull in my schedule. I love this group that I work with. So it's not about the money. It's about the friendships. It's about what we do. We do feel good at the end of the day. And it's super rewarding. I mean, I've never looked at it for the money. The money is a bonus for sure. And it's always paid. So, I mean, I haven't lost once. And I mean, you know, I own a business, so I know what losing's like. And the first year in business, I lost. I had to sell a side-by-side to make it through the winter. Then the next year was COVID, and they said, you're going to stay home. And I said, bullshit, you know. But luckily, we live in America here, in this part of, you know, United States, and everyone was moving here, and my business flourished. And I don't advertise, but my business does extremely, extremely well. And I mean, I have competitors in my own town that'll say, hey, you know, how's business? And I'm like, oh, I'm doing good. And one guy just told me, he just called me 2 weeks ago, and he said, Dennis, I've done 7 jobs since November. And I'm like, what? I booked 7 jobs today, and consistently doing really good. I mean, I just increased our April was 125% over last year's. And my competition is like, how? Well, first of all, you got to answer the phone, and you got to do what you say, and you got to stand behind your work. And that's what America was built on. And if you do that, whether it's flipping, cleaning carpet. I worked for a very big pool builder, making extremely good money until 2009 when the economy crashed. If you do those things and just do what you say you're going to do, show up for work, you're going to make it. There's no reason for it. I mean, there's just no reason you can't do well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you're not joking. I don't think I've ever called you and you haven't answered.
No, I always answer.
That's unique. Because I call a lot of adults every day, and they don't always answer or call you back, even if that's their thing.
I like the fact that you call me an adult, because I told you I am the cheap entertainment. These guys invite me to Mexico only because they know I'm going to do something stupid. They,
Yeah.
More serious. Every time.
Yeah.
I've even made money in Mexico.
Perfect.
And that's the truth.
All right, before we wrap this up, does anybody have any questions for Dennis? Yeah.
The origin of Zip Zip.
Well, zip is because Joe would say, what do you think about this, Dennis? I'm like, well, zip, it's easy, boo, we could do this. And I make a whole bunch of different sounds, and they make fun of me all the time. But zip, it would be like, what do you think about this bathroom? I'm like, well, we could just do this and zip, and it's done. And so they catch on to those things, and like they're Packer fans, and I would always say, go Packs, go. And so it's go Pack, go. And so they make fun of me for that. Anything I say, they make fun of me. So zip, I must have said it twice or something. I do say easy a lot, though.
Yeah. Anybody else? Thank you. That's it. Go ahead.
What's your policy on when to pull a permit and when to not pull a permit?
Usually, so when the city flags you, that's when I pull a permit. That's how that was like the Little America.
So
house.
Little America, yeah.
Yeah. When we were almost done, that's when they flagged us.
Yeah. They shut us down.
And they're fine. They're like, just pay us the money, and we
Put
just
some
want to make
smoke
sure you have
detectors in.
smoke detectors. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
You don't want to take advice from me.
And just so
When it
you
comes
know,
to permits, don't take advice from me.
and just so you know, that Little America, we didn't know it, but the building office was literally probably like 5 houses down. It was
Yeah.
an office. They're
didn't
driving past us every day. I'm ripping stuff out of this place, got trailers. And almost when we were done, they finally said, hey, you know what? You probably...
I know.
And we didn't even know.
And they were so nice
literally
about
down
it.
the street.
You got to love the city of Ponderay because they're so nice. They weren't upset at all. They were happy we were cleaning up the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Like, could you just get a permit? We know it's kind of a thing you should do. They just wanted to see that we put smoke detectors in.
Yeah, literally, that's all.
That's all they wanted to see. Even though we changed the floor plan and everything.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. City of Coeur d'Alene, not like that. They get angry and they want you to tear stuff out. So,
But
any
I
other
was used to that.
But that's a good question about permits. Yes, we should be pulling permits. But that's why we love doing rural areas outside of Coeur d'Alene, because for the most part, these jurisdictions just don't care as much, or there's not as much oversight or audits going on. I don't know. Anybody else have experience with not pulling permits like you should? That want to be open about it? No, that's fine. Thank you, Dennis. Before we go, anybody else got a question, comment? Anybody? Guys, they just have to go.
Yeah, I don't blame them.
Oh,
I'm
go ahead.
sorry.
Right.
Dennis cleaned my carpets here before I moved here. It was great. Same here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you.
T-ball coach last year.
Oh, Austin was? Oh, that's my son. So he probably did them.
Yeah.
But I did yours then. You moved from Phoenix or Arizona.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I remember. Yeah, so you saw a podcast that, oh, your podcast's not as good as mine. There's no way. Because you hired me based on my podcast.
It's true. It's true.
That's awesome.
Yep. Well,
All right.
welcome.
Well, thank you for doing this. I hope this was helpful for some people out there. Thanks for paying attention the whole time. And feel free to stick around for like another half hour or so. I don't know if there's any cookies or coffee left in the back. If you need me to brew more coffee, just let me know. Don't forget to fill out your slips. Leave them right up here after you fill them out, and then I'll do a drawing. If you're gone, it's okay. We'll still call you if we draw your name. A guy last month, Dan. Is Dan here? Nope. I got his number. Anyway, I owe a book to Dan. So we do give them out. Don't worry. We don't cheat you. That's all we got. Thanks for coming. Thank you. All right. Okay, guys. See you next month.